I am Sherrie Garel, and I will be presenting an argument which analyzes similarities and differences in the education offered at institutions of higher learning in the post-classical era in China, Timbuktu, and Paris. The results will answer the questions: what courses of study did they prescribe for students and why? What was expected of a well-educated man? And what cultural values do these expectations reveal? Between 1180 and the 1600s, institutions of higher learning offered tremendous opportunities for academia in China, Timbuktu, and Paris. The curriculum for attaining these opportunities was based on the cultural values and expectations for a well-educated man. Rules and influences from schools of antiquity helped to shape this development, revealing several similarities and differences in approaches used among the regions. During the post-classical era, men in China, Paris, and Timbuktu accessed education as a vehicle for professional development. Institutions of higher learning facilitated this development through religion, philosophical teachings, liberal and applied arts, with an emphasis on developing virtuous character. Successful students were considered well educated and expected to be noble leaders as ingrained in the cultural values of these Asian, European, and African regions. The most important goal of education differed across regions. Chinese education was focused on developing moral conduct to extend to others. In Timbuktu, virtue was the focus, while in Paris, upholding academic excellence was paramount. Education was used as a vehicle for professional development in all three regions. In China, well-educated men became officials. In Timbuktu and Paris, scholars became leaders in education and achieved social prestige. Rules and discipline shaped the well-educated man. A schedule of learning was implemented in China to differentiate between the essential and trivial and to retain proper order on progress. In Paris, regulation for Sorbonne's College on conduct, attire, and etiquette shaped student behavior. Educated men transferred skills to future generations. Teachers were regarded in all three regions. In Timbuktu, Al-Hajj Ahmad studied under the maternal grandfather, and Muhammad lent books from his library. These roles of education related to the courses of study prescribed in the post-classical era. Religion and philosophy were the focus in China and Timbuktu, where Confucius teachings and Islamic sciences were taught respectively. Paris ranked the arts higher than religion, and this disparity is seen in the rules for theologians. However, they included Aristotle's philosophies in the curriculum. China taught moral conduct and the six arts. Applied arts were considered practical but least important. Zhu Zi noted that rituals and music, systems and institutions, astronomy, geography, military strategy, and penal codes cannot be neglected. Classics and other specific Confucius-based material, rites, spring and autumn annals were also taught. In Timbuktu, courses included Islamic sciences, jurisprudence, rhetoric, and logic. Scholars in Paris taught medicine, treatises on Aristotle, two precisians, philosophy, rhetoric, and the liberal arts. China was not primarily concerned with attaining office or emoluments. Instead, emphasized their philosophical and religious courses with the aim of moral cultivation. Similarly, Timbuktu valued goodness in leaders first. In contrast, Paris valued scholarly skills over theology as inferred from the statute concerning theologians. The curriculum in China was reformed so as to gradually restore the ancient order, by splitting courses and testing in different years to ensure mastery of content. Timbuktu had less structured systems. However, since religious faith was the core of their education, asceticism was vital in a leader's willingness to pass down knowledge to those with the same moral commitment. In Paris, courses were extensive. Therefore, a minimum of 4 years was required before attaining licentiate. In arts, and lectures were both ordinary and cursory. Students followed various protocols. In China, students performed ceremonies at morning, nighttime, and at assemblies, in the form of a ritual to Confucius and paying respects to teachers before retiring. In Timbuktu, there were constant devotions at least 5 times per day. While in Paris, after students became licensed to teach, they presented every Friday at the Vespers and Mass the Saturday, until Palm Sunday. In China, rules guided students in modest behavior, appearance, posture, accountability, and dignity. Paris instituted fines for deviation from rules and restricted men on some days for religious observances. They could not eat meat. They required students to be disciplined, considerate, punctual, modest in attire, maintain privacy, and have integrity. These procedures were indicative of the expectations of a well-educated man. Importantly, he had to master the curriculum. As in China, he had to be worthy and capable of mastering moral conduct and the arts. Timbuktu required sound and precise knowledge, rapid comprehension, intelligence, and astuteness. Paris judged the well-educated man on his ability to pass examinations and meet age and years of experience requirements. Well-educated men were disciplined and modest in attire, dressing appropriately for lectures and special occasions. They became noble leaders in their professions. China emphasized genuine commitment, not a spirit of opportunism. Timbuktu emphasized virtue, and well-educated men were expected to be devoted to religion and service to others above attaining position. In Paris, well-educated men were expected to be strict, use good faith, honorable in execution of duties, just and not susceptible to unfair administration by bribe or prior. Cultural values revealed religion was a basis for education. China embraced Confucius' teachings. Timbuktu, Muslim doctrines influenced the well-educated men to uphold the Sunnah, honor the Prophet, and take on the pilgrimage to Mecca. In Paris, Christian greetings included wishes for eternal safety in the Lord. In China and Timbuktu, the diction in primary sources proves that these were patriarchal societies where only men had access to education. In Paris, Sorbonne's college, men were disallowed from having women eating in rooms. All 3 regions showed that there was a culture for respect for elders and authority. In China, students were seated according to their ages and had to wait for elders to go to bed first. In Timbuktu, leaders were respected for their servant roles. I conclude by saying it can be seen that students and scholars in China and Paris had the most structured, similar system of education, while those in Timbuktu had a less formal system. However, it was just as rigorous. Discipline and strategy were important in achieving excellence in the wide range of courses covering rhetoric, logic, and religion. Religious influences were closely tied to the curriculum in all 3 regions and a key factor in developing character traits of a well-educated man. Emerging leaders mastered the curriculum and were qualified to become officials in government and teach future generations within China, Africa, and Western Europe. Thank you.